Are you afraid?
I've always found a strange sort of peace in solitude, especially in nature. That's why, when I needed to clear my head, I packed up my old aluminum fishing boat and headed to Lake Winding, a place remote enough that you rarely see another soul. It was late autumn, the air crisp, the trees bare, perfect for a few nights of quiet reflection and fishing. The first evening was perfect. I set up my tent, started a small fire and cooked a simple meal. The stars were incredible, spilling across the inky blackness above. I sat there for hours, just listening to the crickets and the gentle lapping of the water against the shore. It was the kind of peace that settles deep in your bones. Around midnight, a thick mist began to roll in off the lake, obscuring the far shore and giving the whole landscape an ethereal, almost otherworldly feel. It wasn't menacing, not yet, just a shift in atmosphere, making the solitude feel more profound. I decided to turn in, eager for an early start fishing. I drifted off quickly, but woke abruptly sometime later. I wasn't sure what had disturbed me at first. The air in the tent felt colder, despite my sleeping bag. And then I heard it, a rhythmic sloshing sound, like something heavy being dragged through shallow water, very close to my campsite. My heart began to pound. It wasn't the sound of an animal. It was too regular, too deliberate. And it sounded wet. I strained my ears, holding my breath. The sloshing continued, moving closer, then seemed to stop, just beyond the edge of the mist, somewhere out on the water. I fumbled for my flashlight, my hand trembling slightly. I told myself it was probably just a beaver, or maybe a deer by the shore, but the sound hadn't been quite right for either. The mist outside was so thick, I could barely see my own hand in front of my face. Then, a shape began to coalesce in the mist, right where my boat was moored. It was tall, impossibly thin, and draped in what looked like dark, heavy fabric, completely sodden. It was standing in the shallows, almost motionless, the dark water rising to its waist. I held my breath, unable to move. It didn't seem to be looking at me directly, but its head was cocked at an unnatural angle, as if listening. The fabric, clinging to its frame, made it appear skeletal, its limbs bent in ways that suggested something profoundly wrong. I didn't dare shine my light directly on it. I just watched, horrified, as it slowly began to move, wading deeper into the lake. It moved with a strange, gliding motion, its waterlogged shroud billowing slightly around it, almost like it was floating. It reached my aluminum boat and stopped. For a long moment, it simply stood there, its back to me. The mist swirled around it, making it seem less like a physical being and more like a manifestation of the lake's dark depths. Then, slowly, agonizingly slowly, it turned its head. I could just make out its face through the mist, a pallid, distorted mask of sodden skin, and its eyes. They were not eyes at all, but deep, shadowed hollows that recede into darkness, catching no light, bottomless voids. Its mouth was a black, gaping slit, far too wide, stretched unnaturally across its face. A scream caught in my throat. I squeezed my eyes shut, pressing myself against the back of the tent. I felt a cold dread seep into my bones, a primal terror I hadn't known existed. This wasn't an animal, or a person. This was something ancient, something that belonged to the lake. I waited, my heart pounding like a drum, for what felt like an eternity. I heard nothing, no more sloshing, no movement, just the eerie silence of the mist-laden night, broken only by the frantic beat of my own blood in my ears. Slowly, cautiously, I opened my eyes and peered through the tent mesh again. The figure was still there, by the boat, completely motionless. It was facing away from me again, a dark, unsettling silhouette against the hazy light reflecting off the water. Then, I noticed something else. The rope securing my boat to the dock, which I had tied securely, was now undone. The boat itself had drifted a few feet from the shore, bobbing gently in the water. The figure was standing next to it. As I watched, the figure slowly, carefully lowered itself into my boat. It knelt there, its head bowed, completely still. It looked like it was waiting for me. A horrifying realization dawned on me. It wanted me to join it. Panic seized me. I knew, with absolute certainty, that if I stayed, I would become part of the lake too. I had to get out, and quickly. I moved with agonizing slowness, grabbing my car keys, my phone, and my small backpack. I didn't even bother packing up the tent. I just slipped out, moving like a ghost through the thinning mist, my eyes fixed on the boat, on the figure that was still kneeling there, waiting. It never moved, never looked up. I didn't look back until I was in my car, engine running, speeding down the dirt track. When I finally dared a glance in the rearview mirror, the lake was a dark, distant expanse. My boat was still there, bobbing gently, but the figure was gone. I drove for hours, not stopping until the sun was well up and the lake was far behind me. I never went back to retrieve my tent, or anything else I'd left behind. The thought of that placid water and what lurked beneath its surface still sends a shiver down my spine. I don't know why it didn't pursue me, or why it didn't try to stop me from leaving. Perhaps it only had power in the water, or in the cover of the mist. Or perhaps for some reason, it simply let me go. Either way, I'm just grateful I'm still here to tell this story, and not just another wait in the dark waters of Lake Winding.